Utah. Give me 2.
What up, everybody? Michael Govier here. It's a Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Tonight, I'm joined once again by a recent face who was here a couple weeks ago, Mr. Mike, the man himself, MKB Fantasy. On Twitter, he's from We Know Fantasy. And he's here to serve you for this show, which is about fantasy baseball. Right?
How you doing, Michael?
Fuck off, Siri. What the fuck? Siri just jumped in. I'm trying to do a show. I don't know why Siri just did that. So that was weird. Go away. Did I say something about Siri in the intro? Hey, yo. Okay. So, Mike, how you doing? What's going on?
Good, man. How are you doing? First off, before we get started, I just want to say, can we talk about the O's and almost the Tigers win today? I was a little bummed that McLain gave up that lead after the ninth, but
Go Tigers.
Tigers have been playing pretty well. Pitching's been pretty well over the past couple games with the Phillies. I was actually pretty surprised.
I am all in on Reese Olson, and I think I mentioned this recently. If I did not mention it on the air on the show, then I'm failing in life. But I've said it somewhere. I know I wrote about it over FTN Fantasy this week. I mentioned Reese Olson. I spent my money to prove what really matters most, my own FAAB bucks in my main event. I picked up Reese Olson last week. So I'm a full believer, even though they got a lot of guys in the hopper who could be coming back soon. I like Reese Olson a lot. I really do.
Go Tigers.
Yeah.
And it's not just a homer play, by the way, either.
Right. Did they use the opener today? I didn't think they had a starter listed. At least I didn't see it.
Yeah, they had used the opener, and he was the bulk guy, pitched 5 innings. He only had 3 strikeouts, but he didn't give up a lot of runs. He kept the whip down. It's just rock solid. It's not overly dominant, but that's 2 starts that look real solid. We'll take it. We'll take that from a guy who's a rookie. I know we got Tarek Skubal and Matt Manning on the mend, and, of course, Eduardo Rodriguez has started to throw and play catch. There's a lot of Tigers out there, Mike.
Go Tigers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you guys. I mean, I think the Riley Green injury is a little bit of a bummer, too. But hopefully
you got a fan here, Mike. Look at that.
There you go. Hey, you're welcome, man.
What's up, Abe? Never seen Abe here before. You're bringing Abe aboard because he loves all the help you've been giving him, Mike. That's a shout out to you, buddy.
Yeah,
good job. I
appreciate it. Thanks so much.
But yeah, Riley Green's hurt. That sucked. And their offense is suffering more. It is.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, last year I drafted Javi Baez and I told myself I would never do it again. He burned me so bad last year. And I'm happy to say that I have 0 shares of Javi Baez. So.
Javi Baez is trash. He's total trash. I learned that last year when I drafted him in my main event, and I said, never again. The guy is living off the past, and he's not even a good defender anymore. There's nothing that Javi Baez can offer you that is beneficial to your fantasy squad. He just doesn't have it anymore. Even that trip to Puerto Rico that A.J. Hinch made in the offseason, where he spent a week down there with Baez, it didn't help.
No, I can't remember who threw it. Somebody threw him a down and away slider, and it wasn't any more close to the strike zone.
Yeah, that got a lot of run on Twitter.
Yeah.
That was bad. Really bad. But
yeah,
that's par for the course with that dude. So
it is.
I got a great question, though, here. We're going to talk about some people that are struggling in the fantasy world. What do you do with them? Of course, we'll talk about Elly De La Cruz. We have to. It's standard issue. Plenty to talk about here in this week's show. We'll give you some 2-star pitches for next week. We try to cover as much as we can here. Me and Mike. Follow Mike on Twitter, MKB Fantasy. I'm at MJ Govier Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's and
Utah.
2 Z's.
Give me 2.
Before. Out of Rhythm Fantasy Sports. My guy Jamie, by the way. What's up, Jamie? He wants to know Mario, Luigi, or Wario. Who you got?
Ooh, it depends on what video game we're talking about. If we're talking about Mario Kart, give me Wario. Mario Party, give me Wario as well.
Oh, wow. You're an evil dude, aren't you? There's something going on.
Big Wario guy.
We got another newcomer, Ty McLeod. Hey, what's up, Ty? I don't recognize your name either. We're seeing some new, fresh faces and names. Thanks for being here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We just had a big boost of like 50 subs. We jumped up to 449 from 390. I don't know what the hell's going on out there, but that's a miracle. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how rare that is. That is so unheard of. It just shows you that there's a lot of people. If you get access to the right people, they can just open you up real quick and just, that's how, when people go viral, it really does happen like that. You could go from 500 subs to 5,000 in a heartbeat. It's crazy. But Ty McLeod says he's got the D, the English D next to him in his avatar. So that means he knows a thing or two about this guy right here.
And he stood there like the house by the side of the road and watched it go by. Struck him out.
Ernie Harwell. You know Ernie Harwell, Mike? I mean, you're not from Detroit.
No, but I know the name.
Oh, okay, cool. So Ty says, is there anyone I can add other than Riley Green from my Tigers? Also, I got 4 Reds right now. That's on you. I think he's talking to me or you, Mike. Is he talking to you, Mike?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, it might be you. I don't remember talking much about Spencer Steer.
He's here for you. I'm here for MK, baby. It's Mick, right. MC. What is that, a cloud after that? Mick Cloud?
Sure.
You don't know McLeod? Oh, he says he knows you, buddy.
Ty McLeod.
Anyways, you got him on McLain, Abbott, Steer, and, of course, Elly De La Cruz, the legend himself.
Yeah.
So,
what was the question that he was asking? If he could add
is there another
Tigers
offensively at all? I don't think so.
No, I don't know. Depends on team need, obviously, and how deep your league is. But
of course,
Spencer Torkelson has been playing,
what?
decently. I mean, if you're in a deep league, I might be somebody I might be looking to add just off pure pedigree. But that's really about it. Outside of that, McKinstry. Is McKinstry still playing well?
That's true. McKinstry's been useful, especially in OBP leagues. Yeah. He's walked so much more this year. That's fair. That's been useful, but I think he kind of chilled out a little bit. I got to look at the last 5 here. He might have cooled off a tad. Yeah, he's cooled off a little bit here. A couple of hits here and there, but he's drawing walks still, even in the Philadelphia series. So that's despite the smoke, despite this epic fucking smoke. So it's incredible. Holy shit, look at Cubby Knoll is here. Hey, baby dolls. What's up, Cubby Knoll?
What's up, man?
Cubby Knoll's on Twitter. He's an FBC player. He's been around a long time. I haven't seen you, Cubby Knoll. Have you been here ever? It's been, maybe 4 years ago. It's been a long time. A lot of fresh faces up in here tonight. Chris said, soundboard goes hard. Shout out Mike for the fantasy baseball content on Twitter. That's right. That's how we do it. There it is. You got it, Chris. Mike, you're getting a lot of love. People really appreciate the hard work you're putting in with the notes on Twitter.
Yeah, man, that? I'm loving it. Yeah, I didn't get the chance to do them today. My son's dealing with a little bit of a stomach bug, and I thought I was dealing with a little bit of it today too. So I apologize, but they will be up tomorrow morning. So a lot to talk about. But wanted to dive in real quick though, Michael. First off, before we get into Elly, I want to give you a shout out because Matt McLain, dude, has just been unreal, and I know you were on him big time. Last time that we were talking, and he actually got dropped in my league. Surprisingly. Yeah, I don't know why, but I hopped all over that like white and rice, and I've been loving every second of it. So
good for you.
Yeah, but thoughts on Elly De La Cruz? Do you have any shares?
I'm going to tease that. I'm going to let that simmer for a minute. We're going to tease that, okay? All right. We're going to tease that for a minute here, and we're going to go. He's got something I want to tease as well, so hold off on that. Think Gary Sanchez could be good in San Diego? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that momentarily. But I want to get into the business time. That's what I like to do here is talk the business and give credit to people like Mike himself, by the way, who's been busting his butt on Twitter. What's going on with We Know Fantasy? What's the word over there this week?
Not too much. Like I said, I usually just do a weekly waiver wire article over there on Sundays. But if you're a golfer, they also do some golf content over there as well. But in terms of baseball stuff, I'm going to switch it up a little bit this week. I'll obviously have my waiver wire article out, but I'm going to look for some other things to post, maybe some guys that are kind of deeper league ads, some prospect stuff. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Girl, tonight we're going to make love. You know how I know?
I know how
you know.
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love.
Actually, it's Thursday right now, but, I get the point. Get the gist. That sounds good, my friend. I got to say, it's been another busy week. I want to thank everybody for subscribing to the YouTube, all the recent subs we had. That's nice. Keep them coming. Can I ask, if you've never rated the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, however you take it outside of the YouTube, please, could you give us a 5-star rating? We haven't had a rating in a while. We're way overdue. Please hook us up. That's all I'm asking during the business time. Is the only time I'm going to talk about it. Then we're moving on. No more, okay? I want to say Tout Wars. Shout out to Tout Wars for having me this year. The 12-team head-to-head points league I'm in. I'm 4-5. It's head-to-head, so you either win or lose. That's how it works. So 4 wins, 5 losses. Still hanging in there, but
Yeah.
Really thought I was going to win last week, and it didn't come to fruition. I got Matt McLain on my Tout Wars team, too. That's nice.
Yeah.
And I think the pitching has been the minor problem, but Alex Lang's the guy I got on my Tout Wars team, so that's not going to help me today. That's unfortunate. That's a big L. But I love Tout Wars. Also, shout out to Britton Allen, who's aboard now. Britton did a show last week. He's going on vacation with the kids tomorrow, so I think we're going to have him back next week. He's going to be off this week. That's right. He shows up, then he goes on vacation. It's a lazy bastard, dude. I'm telling you. Follow Britton Allen on Twitter. That's 2 T's and 2 L's, folks, if to keep in the spirit of the Utah.
Utah.
Give me 2.
Give me 2.
And then the Patreon's available. Starts at $3. There's a 7-day free trial. All the information is in the description. You click on it. I offer weekly FAAB bids, talking about FAAB strategy for 12-team and 15-team leagues. So there's variety, and it gives you a baseline. I offer 2-start pitcher options, my top 10 every week. 2-start streaming pitcher options every single week. Rankings, bonus content, episodes that you're missing out. And that was Grooving with Govier, FTNFantasy.com. We just rolled out. We got a brand new website with FTN Fantasy bets and daily. A whole new layout. Check it out, FTNFantasy.com. Read this week's Grooving with Govier. I talked about all kinds of different players. I give you a bunch of different information in the screenshot section so that you can have the latest information. Like Jacob deGrom is not healthy, right? I mean, that's big news, right, Mike?
Very big. Yeah. I feel bad for the guy. I don't know if you saw the interview, but
oh no,
just,
was he depressed?
He's in tears after the
He
news
was?
came out about him getting Tommy John. He just wanted to get out there and compete and feels bad that he's injured again. So
Wow.
Send you the video later, but he was definitely very emotional. So
well,
yeah.
Maybe you should have had Tommy John 2 years ago. Just saying, like our buddy Dr. Dave, the master, Dave McDonald, was saying that, it was recommended he should have Tommy John 2 years ago. And he decided not to do that. And I'm not saying he didn't make the right choice. It was just going to happen sooner or later, but he got paid. He got the bag, so who cares? I mean, he got paid.
Yes, he did.
That's good for him. I'm happy for him. I don't ever want to prevent anybody from getting paid. I want that to be clear. But yeah, check out FTNFantasy.com and our new layout and my latest article, Grooving with Govier. It's totally free. You don't need a subscription. If you want to pay for the subscription and get access to Vlad Sadler's legendary FAAB weekly article, comes out every Saturday. It covers everything in the world you would need to know. All the schedules, the matchups, splatoons, players from every position, 12-team, 15-team. It's so damn good. MJ Govier is my promo code. Go to FTNFantasy.com. Give it a shot. Seriously, you need to try it out because if you're not reading it, you're left behind. All right. Ooh, that was intense. I got all fired up for Vlad there. And yeah, that's it. Okay. I just covered everything I wanted to cover. Oh, the Plazo Podcast Invitational. We're humming along over there in our annual competition, which is a 50-round draft and hold 15-team. There's 6 different leagues this year. We set a record, Mike. We grew by one more league.
There you go.
90 teams overall. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty happy about that.
I'm playing next year.
I know you are. I know. I brought this up last time you were here. You're definitely playing. It's already done. We already got your invitation sealed. It's on its way in the mail. It's a snail mail invitation. It's very special. It's kind of like the no, it's nothing like the Scott Fish Bowl. Yeah, everybody gets their invites, and you just get inundated with all of them in your feed all week long, and then you're the only one who doesn't get invited, and you're like, "Hey, what about me?"
Yeah. Saw those a lot last year.
Yeah. I was in a satellite league last year or two, I think, where you just played best ball, and I didn't do very well. So there's no reason for me to get an invite if I'm not making progress in the satellite leagues, right?
Yeah, I guess.
No, it's flat out. Yeah, failure. I failed. Best ball is a different animal, and you got to focus on that. We got a brand new overall leader in the overall standings for the Palazzo Podcast Invitational. It's very exciting. And I want to show this to you real quick because I want to give full credit to the man who deserves it. This guy right here. You guys know this guy? John Wilder is in first place. Nice job, John. Congratulations. First place overall right now. Sean Flannery, number 2. Defending champion Zach Nelson, 3rd. Benjamin Schottenfeld. I know Ben. He's from the local Detroit area. He likes the Tigers. He said about Riley Green for sure. Aren't you, Ben?
Go Tigers.
He's in 4th. And then Russell Withers, my man from Texas, number 5. So there you go. That's the current top 5. And we'll keep tabs on the Palazzo Podcast Invitational as we carry along this season. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. All right. Got a lot to tease and a lot to talk about, so let's get into what we usually call leading off. All right. Well, leading off today, it's real obvious. Chris would agree. If Chris Deary was still here, he'd be like, you know what, Govier, we should start the show leading off with Elly De La Cruz.
Good. Our first catch of the day.
So he's absolutely the catch of the day. There's no doubt about it. I'm pissed, Mike. I have no shares. I don't know what happened. I blew it. I totally blew it. I mean, this guy looks incredible to me, and I don't have a single league with him on any of my rosters, and he looks like he's better than Acuna and Trout and everybody. The guy looks incredible.
Yes, he does. And it sucks that you don't have any shares of him, but at the same time, too, fantasy is one thing, but he's just good for baseball, especially with the Reds organization as well. I mean, they've been dying for a player like this for a long, long time. And it looks like they have a generational talent. I mean, granted, it's only been a couple games. I was really, really hyped when I found out that he got the call, and that team is going to be so much fun to watch over the next couple of years between him, McLain, Steer, Abbott. I mean, there's a lot of guys, Alexis Diaz, Jonathan India, all those guys it's going to be super fun. And Elly De La Cruz is going to be, well, we'll get into it in a little bit later, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts where we draft him next year. But
okay. I like that. See, look, he's growing.
Spin it.
That's the spin zone. We're in the no spin zone, Mike. Remember that, okay?
Okay.
Hey, got a friend. J Friend Dress. MKB. You got a lot of fans. Look at you. You're very sexy. Showing out tonight. I'm impressed.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
JB says, if you give me a 5-star, I'll give you a 5-star. Sure, yes, of course. I'll return the favor. If I haven't done that, I got to get on that. Guy Gomez says, the Rangers have scored the most runs in 2023, so DeGrom would have finally had run support, too. Yeah, that's...
Bye, Felicia.
Do you have any shares of Jacob DeGrom?
I only did it one time. I when played 21 leagues this year, I'm like, I'll take a test drive. Yeah. But in that league, I'm in second place, so I don't have to worry about it. He's already been on the IL for so long that I'm just... I planned around the fact that DeGrom could get hurt. I really did, because I've been through this. It's not my first rodeo, as they say. It's not my first go-around. It's not the first time that I've drafted Jacob DeGrom only to have him go to the IL. This is the real thing. Yeah. And I've had a lot of practice at drafting him or avoiding him entirely.
We talking about practice.
Really have. So I have in that one league, and it's not a big deal. And that's it. I took one shot, but I did not draft him heavily at all just because he went to Texas. I would not change the tune. Would you?
Yeah. No, not at all. And I don't have any shares of him for that reason, too, even though it was really hard in some of my drafts to not take him, being as that he's obviously the best pitcher in baseball when he's healthy. Just dude can't stay healthy, and he's the best pitcher in baseball, like I said. And I feel for him, I do. And the Rangers are a great team, like you just mentioned. You're in second without him. The Rangers are doing just fine without him too. But we'll see.
Mr. Dynamite.
Yeah, they miss Mr. Dynamite, no doubt about it. Chris got a question here. You guys are in the live chat. You guys are crushing it. So you have questions, we'll answer them. We try to do that. We involve you in the show. It's not just us here on the Palazzo Podcast. Drop either Evan Phillips or Alex Lang for AJ Puk in a saves hold league. Mike, what do you do?
It's tough. Phillips is,
what's the issue?
Well, I mean, I like Phillips a lot, and AJ Puk's coming off of, what was his shoulder or his elbow, one of the two. So remains. I guess I'm fine with dropping Phillips for him. Meaning that he's going to be that bullpen's going to get more crowded with Gratterall and Hudson coming back. And
Puk pitched yesterday, struck out 1 inning, 3 Ks. It was flawless.
Oh,
so
right.
So does that help at all? If knowing that part, if he struck out the side in 1 inning yesterday,
that definitely helps. I'll take Puk over Phillips. I'm probably still hanging on to Lang though, even though he didn't have a great outing today.
Don't drop Lang. Yeah, I know Lang's been a surprise because the Tigers won more games than we would have expected, and save opportunities were there for them. But don't give up on Lang. He's still a good pitcher.
Go Tigers.
He might get traded though. But I don't think he will. I think he's still part of their current plans. He's not like Joe Jimenez or just an afterthought for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel good about that. I think I do. For me, I'm taking Puk all day there, though. I want Puk regardless. I think I do. I really do.
Yeah, I'd take him over Phillips for sure.
Oh, yeah. Phillips is.
Now that I think about it.
I wrote in this week's Screw We Go, FTMFantasy.com. Have you read it? That Alex Reyes is, he's on. He's in the shadows lurking right now. The Dodgers signed him. Over a year removed now from shoulder surgery. So is he going to start gearing up? We haven't heard any tidbits about Alex Reyes, but 2 years ago, he's an all-star closer for the Cardinals. And if he can come back into the fold, I could see him being the man for the Dodgers still.
Yeah, and I think Roberts likes Phillips in the high leverage, role, the fireman role. So I could easily see him getting, the eighth inning if they're in the heart of the order, So I just think there's a lot of different guys in that pen, and I think Puk's going to have that role to himself. Obviously, they'll sprinkle in Floro, but that's really it.
Hey, I like it. Sound Money says the Castellini should sell the Reds to a team. To a CES-led consortium, people who love Christian Encarnacion-Strand. I like it. That could be fun. I'm down for it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Can't do it.
Sorry. Gunnar Henderson, your buddy Jay Friendress. Gunnar Henderson coming on as of late, eh? What do you say, Mikey? Gunnar Henderson season is back in business?
Yeah. I know he had left the game a couple days ago, and I don't know if you saw the home run today that he drove the opposite way. And I really think that's the key to his success if he starts using all parts of the field. And I know that's tough to do.
The second is last week, 2 in last week.
Yeah, I think he's batting 207, 208, something like that now. So, it's crazy how good the O's have been without their top pitching prospect and their top hitting prospect both not playing well. So
that's right.
I will take even just a 230, 240 at this point from Gunnar Henderson. But yeah, I think he's coming around. So if those of you guys who were patient and held on to him, hopefully that arrow continues to trend upward.
Ty McLeod, the Tigers fan here.
Go Tigers.
Says, I think you're referring to Lang. He's a Band-Aid. Okay. Hey, I think Lang was a guy they wanted to get involved this year, and he showed why. But
yeah.
I'm always ready to sell relievers at the deadline. Always ready to sell relievers. I think they're replaceable. I do. Jamie says, started your boy Reese Olson tonight. 3 Ks, 1.8 ERA, and a 0.8 whip. Yeah, it was solid. It wasn't amazing, but it'll do. His changeup is a real nice pitch. It is. MKB knows about a flawless victory. That's right. It sure does. You're a Mortal Kombat fan?
Flawless victory.
I like Mortal Kombat when I was younger.
Yeah. He's an old man now. He doesn't play that shit, those kids' games.
Didn't they make a movie about Mortal Kombat not too long ago? I think they redid the movies, didn't they?
Mortal Kombat! Yeah, that stupid thing. It was in 95. It was a terrible movie. Yeah. Ty McLeod says, I'm out, boys. I'll be back. Thanks. Really enjoy this. Ty, great to have you, my friend.
Thanks for coming.
We really enjoyed it. Have a Coors on the way out.
This right here is a silver bullet, all the way from Colorado.
Jamie says, Puk or Andres Munoz? Drop one of them. I'm definitely dropping Munoz.
Yeah, I am too. I was high on Munoz coming into the end of the year.
Everybody is. Because he's tantalizing, but he doesn't have the role.
No. Yeah, and if you play in a holds league, I can maybe make an argument for it. But yeah, I'm probably still taking Puk there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So is Sound Money having his own conversation over here because he's saying, yes, the movie was called Up in the Air. Mortal Kombat, Up in the Air? I don't get it. Which starred George Clooney. I know the movie Up in the Air. It's an excellent film. Came out in 2009 during the Great Nightmare, which we're still feeling to this day. It's very sad. Yeah. But can we go back to Gary Sanchez? Somebody mentioned in the chat. I said I'd tease it. Yeah. Now we're back to that tease about 12 minutes later. He's crushing the home run dongs for the Padres. He's doing what Gary Sanchez does. He goes on a heater. He crushes a bunch of dongs, plays god-awful defense. But the Padres are so desperate for offense that's their current situation, that it's actually beneficial for them to play Gary Sanchez, Mike.
Yeah, and I think he was batting fourth in that lineup, which is actually kind of surprising. But I mean, he's been crushing it. And it's such a Padres thing to do, right? I mean, add a guy who's not too far removed from hitting all those home runs with the Yankees, but added him to their lineup, and he's killing it. And hopefully they get Manny Machado back up and running, and with Soto and Tatis, it would not surprise me to see him. I don't think this pace is sustainable, but like you said, you can't put him behind the dish. You're gonna have to hide his defense. So. Well, DH kind of guy.
The pitchers are pissed. We have to remember that. The pitchers need their catchers, and there's a reason. It doesn't matter in fantasy, but it does impact our fantasy output. if the catcher is a douchebag in terms of playing defense and they can't stand him, can't call a game, can't do anything. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, he's a
It's
liability
awful.
He's a liability on defense. So
You have failed.
And
but
he's
if he
failed in
continues,
offense.
yeah, if he's continued to hit like he has been the past couple of weeks or the past couple of games, I mean, look out.
Look out now. I don't know. I can't trust it. I know he could do home run binges. It's amazing. It's so weird that he's on a home run binge on his third team of the season. He was with the Giants for a second. It's like, oh, he might play for the Giants for the and then he's gone. And then he's with the Mets. Oh, he gets called up. Oh, now he's gone. And now he's just a fantasy stud for the moment. It's so weird. Baseball is such a strange game, man.
Yep. Maybe it's about being around the right guys. You know, maybe Soto and Machado are getting on him, and maybe he feels comfortable in that lineup with those in that locker room with those guys. Who knows?
And Jay Frendra says, and don't say Detroit. Was that in response to the question you asked, Jay? Because I can't remember what we're talking about here. Okay, I don't know where we are anymore. What day is it? Where are we? The new MK movie is bloody. It's a mess. Okay, that's cool. People love that stuff. And Sound Money says it was an adaptation of Mortal Kombat 4 Gold. I didn't know that. That's what you're talking about. You guys are beyond me, man. What do I know?
Yeah.
What do I know?
I don't know much about it either. I like the video game.
I love the video games. Gotta get the blood code in the old days. That's how old I am. I'm an old motherfucker. Well, does he feel the groove? You see Mike cutting loose a little bit there? Becky's 3 tequilas deep. Return of the Mack. That's right. So who's on the mend? What's the story? Is there some players that we can pick up, or is it already too late? Fill me in, Mike.
Well, a couple guys that I've been advising some folks on Twitter, but also in my waiver wire article. Adam Duvall is coming back tomorrow. Cora didn't necessarily say it, but he said it with a grin that there's a strong possibility that he could be back tomorrow. So, which he is. But I read another interesting article too the other day about how he fits in and how Jarren Duran also fits into that lineup with him back. Because I imagine Duvall is going to reclaim his spot in center, but where does
That's what I would have thought.
So, I wouldn't necessarily say that that the pace that he had in the beginning of this season. I think 8 games he played before he got hurt is something he's going to be putting up routinely. But I do like him in that home ballpark, and I think his power fits well there. So.
Duvall will hit dongs. That's it. That's all he's good for. And if you try to get anything else from that, don't bother wasting your time. Also, clarification from Jay Frendress. He wanted about the top 3 ballparks. When he said, don't say Detroit, he wants to know the top 3 ballparks. Well, Camden's real good. I know I love Camden Yards. I always have, always will. And, people love PNC. I've never been to PNC, so I can't say anything about it. I always thought Petco looked pretty cool. I've never been to Petco, so...
Yeah,
I don't have enough
PNC.
Experience, Mike.
Yeah, neither do I. PNC, I heard it was a good ballpark. I have a buddy of mine that lives out in Colorado who said the Rocky Stadium is not too bad, but yeah.
I worked at Coors Field. I did.
Did you like the ballpark?
I love that ballpark. I'm glad you brought that up, actually.
Coors.
I worked at Coors Field in 2011 as a supervisor of the food stations, like the concessions. I ran 6 concession stands simultaneously as a supervisor. I kind of oversaw them. That meant like running up and down the concourses and going down to the dredges of Coors Field in the basement where all the giant bags of popcorn were filled with rats and shit. Yeah, it's weird. It's crazy, but it's all happening there. It's all real.
Yeah.
Well, Coors Field's a beautiful park. I love Coors Field. That's actually my top 3, actually. I'll put it at number 2. I'll say Camden, Coors Field, and then for what I've seen, I think Wrigley's overrated. I actually went to Wrigley for a Pearl Jam concert, but I thought it was overrated.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's more nostalgic, I think, for a lot of folks, right? I don't know how awesome the ballpark is, but it's a good baseball stadium, I guess, in terms of just the nostalgia of Wrigley Field.
Sure, that's different, though, but
yeah.
I love the vibe. It's classic, but I just don't think it's a great place to watch a game. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Like, hey, this is a historic place? Sure, I give credit to that. Am I having fun here? Is the atmosphere upbeat? I don't know. Does it have a beautiful landscape? City skyline? All that stuff can be fun. And also, it's like if it's in a neighborhood like Wrigley is, that's pretty cool. I will say that, but
yeah,
I think it gets a little too much credit. That's why I'm trying to hype down Wrigley a bit, just because I think it needs to be taken down a peg or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't regret that at all.
I've never been to Wrigley, but it's on my bucket list. So,
well, I ain't never been to London. I ain't never been to France, and I ain't never seen no Queen or damned undies. So what the hell do I know? Galgamesh says, who wins the trade in the live chat here? Wander and Harris, the sequel. Michael Harris. Oh, I know this trade. I saw this from a friend of ours. Another friend sent me the text for me to look at this trade earlier. It's Wander and Michael Harris for Austin Riley and Trey. That's stupid. That's totally one-sided for Austin Riley and Trey. Am I wrong, Mike?
No, 100%. If somebody's offering you Riley and Trey Turner, I'm smashing accept for those two quicker than you could probably blink. So
lock that in. That's an easy call. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did that trade actually happen, Steve? Because Steve's in that league. And that's my friend Steve there, Galgamesh. So let me know if that trade actually went down. Because if it did, that's a bad trade. It's not
real bad. It's not close either.
Yeah. What's story with Trevor's story? What's the story with Trevor's story?
So someone I was looking to stash in one of my IL spots because I am activating Adam Duvall, and I thought to myself, well, Trevor Story's going to be coming back in, maybe June, July. But I read recent reports came out that he could be back sooner to DH, so he could come back sooner, kind of like what they're doing with Harper. And then I read it from a beat writer that they won't do that. That he'll get his time in the minors, and what I was reading was that he's not going to necessarily come up and play right away if they're all healthy. The only way that he'd come up is if somebody got injured and they needed a bat. I think they'll take their time with him, but he's definitely somebody I'm worth. I'm ready to stash. I just don't think we have a clear timetable when he's actually going to be back.
You know what's funny that the beat reporter said that because the words came out of Cora's mouth, the manager saying that like everything's in play. Cora didn't say he would DH, but he said, well, we're not ruling anything out. Everything's in play. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad we got some follow up from a beat reporter who might have talked to Cora after the back, and Cora's like, yeah, well, maybe. I said anything's possible. It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see him at all this month. I think we're talking probably mid-July that we see Trevor Story, but we'll see. Is he somebody you're looking to stash if he's available?
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't thought about adding him anywhere. I don't know why that is. There's no motivation on my part, no desire to, I got to get Trevor Story. I want to be in business with Trevor Story. You actually just made me think about that because I have not done that at all.
Yeah. I don't know. And a lot of people, I think maybe had, at least in my league, drafted him so they could use him as an IL stash and then got impatient with all the injuries and stuff and then ended up cutting him. So he's available in my home league. I'm thinking about maybe adding him, but we'll see.
Okay. What about, the reason Trevor Story to me is an afterthought is because I just don't trust him post Coors life. He's just not the same guy anymore. He's not
Coors.
He's not a real special player anymore like he was at Coors, where he could give you a lot of speed and power and keep the average up. I just thought he's like, all right, well, he's a guy who's usable. I should still be thinking about adding him, but things have changed. That's all.
Yeah, 100%. And I drafted him last year, and obviously got off to a slow start, and then there was a couple games or stretch where he was just on fire, and then went back in the dumps again. So I'm with you. Post Coors, I don't know how high.
What about Jose Alvarado of the Phillies?
Yeah, it's worth noting that Craig Kimbrel went into the ninth with a 1-1 lead and gave up a run. But other than today, he's been pretty much lights out. I don't know.
But you don't buy that though, right?
No, I mean, like I said, this resurgence of Craig Kimbrel is kind of out of nowhere. But at the same time, too, and again, baseball's, as you've already noted, a weird sport, and how they're going to mix them in for one. But if Kimbrel's been pitching really well, how can you just remove him right away? I do think there's going to be a little bit of a timeshare to start, maybe ease Jose Alvarado back in there, but somebody I was extremely high on going into the end of the season, and I was basically slamming the table for people to pick this guy up. And he was one of the best relievers on that team.
You have failed.
Soto and Kimbrel, and they had Sir Anthony Dominguez. But and he was lights out before he got hurt. So, but I don't know. What do you think? You think that he takes that role over full time?
I think Alvarado was really good when he pitched. He's coming back from injury. Will he be good to go? It seems like he is because he's coming back Friday. He'll pitch tomorrow on Friday. But Kimbrel's an old man who doesn't have the same power that he once had. But if he's somehow tapping into some smarts or he's made some adjustments as an old wily veteran, that's interesting. I mean, he really wanted to get to the 400 save plateau. He got there, so that's over with now. And maybe he kind of peters out from there and Jose Alvarado resumes his power here.
Yeah.
This is tough. This is a situation I'd rather not be in business with. But if you're desperate for saves and you're trolling the waiver wire and you're like, boy, I need someone. I need them now. You got to pick up Jose Alvarado and hope that he slides back into the role.
Yeah, he's must add, in my opinion, if he's out there. Especially if you're hurting for saves and saves being a hot commodity. I think you got to add him.
Yeah, that's fair. His numbers are some of the expected numbers look pretty good too, and everything he did so far in 14 innings of work. But yeah, it looked real solid. I just hope that the injury doesn't impact that in a negative way. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, y'all nailed it. Dave shoved his Petrucci right up Rich's colon. That's really funny because that trade, he's talking about the trade with Wander and Harris
got it.
For Riley and Trey. And that's my friend's name. The guy, Rich, that's not just saying Rich, that's his last name, Cologne. So he's using that.
Got it.
Very clever, Steven. Well done. I like that.
That is bullshit.
Yeah, that's a bogus trade. Jamie says, Wesneski, Tyler Anderson, Kyle Freeland, Pat Sandoval, Gonsolin, Kopech. Oh, my God. JP France, Liberator, Ty Walker, Johan Oviedo. What do you think of all those guys? What do I think of all those guys rest of season? Jamie, you can't just throw like 10 pitchers at me at once. That's way too much. We got to tighten that up a little bit.
Yeah. I got to go through all these names. I mean, I guess out of all of these, I'm probably most interested in probably Kopech, but I don't.
It looks like he's in second place in a 20-man. That's a pretty good roster in a pitching rotation for a 20-man league, I would say.
Oh, that's his rotation.
I think so. That's what he said. What do you think of these guys rest of the season? I did lose a few high-end pitchers. So there's no way those in a 20-man, those guys are all picked up. So I'm assuming it is his rotation, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freeland, I'd be very suspect of. I'd like to move on from him easily.
Same.
Freeland and Liberator. I don't know. Taiwan Walker's had some moments where he looked a little better lately, but I'd be a little worried about him. And, of course, Oviedo. So it would be Freeland, Walker, Oviedo, and Tyler Anderson are the guys I'd like to get rid of. I love Wesneski, and I love Gonsolin. I love Kopech. I like JP France. Liberator's all right. And Pat Sandoval, I wish he could pitch more often. That six-man rotation is a bummer.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I love Pat Sandoval, too. And the Angels are playing pretty well. So I think for a 20-man league, that's not a bad rotation.
Oh, that's solid. That's real solid. All right, so let's get into it, man. Come on, Elly De La Cruz. There's going to be big money spent on FAAB, all that stuff, Mike. Let's get into it. Come on, cut the crap.
Percentage-wise of your remaining FAAB, how much would you be looking to spend on him if he's available available in your league?
He was available. Oh, man, I would. God, I hate to get caught up in the moment. We know how recency bias could be a pain in the ass.
Yep.
But I hate spending a lot of money in FAAB on one guy. I mean, I spent $152 on Matt McLain, like I told you, and that was a huge buy for me. So, and that was a $1,000 FAAB budget. I guess for Elly De La Cruz, if he was available, I would spend probably 60% of my FAAB at least.
Yeah, I was thinking 50 off the top of my head, but I mean, and you guys talked about it earlier on your 5 p.m. show when you guys talked about prospects. He's probably the most impactful bat that probably comes up above and beyond, I would say. So he's worth it. And a lot of the prospects that are probably going to be coming up are not going to be an Elly De La Cruz type. So he's somebody I'd be looking to spend a good amount of my FAAB on to get him.
Well, I got a little game for you, actually. This is old school. I'm going to bring it back. It's time to play the most ridiculous and pointless game that is sweeping the nation. That's right. It's time for Name That Runner-Up FAAB. All right. So, Galgamesh says 100% FAAB for Elly, by the way. Yeah, just all of it. All the money. Doesn't matter.
Throw it all at him? Okay.
Forget the context. Who cares about anything? Just spend it all right now, because that's all that matters is right now.
Well, you talked about the recency bias, and I'm not comparing these two by any means. And I know that Elly's strikeout percentage strikeout to walk percentage was a lot better improved over the past month before they brought him up. But, I'm still, the only thing in the very, very back of my mind here that I'm thinking about is that K percentage. And are we looking at maybe he struggles a little bit? I mean, I think he struck out 2 times today. I don't know. That's always something in the back of my mind. Where is he a little bit too aggressive? Our guy's going to figure him out quick, and he's going to start striking out like Christopher Morel. And then we start getting into this, he's a bust and, all that. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that, though.
Man.
Like, I can't imagine 1 month of being in the minors and improving that and walking more and striking out less is just going to be something that's just a quick done. And I'm just going to be a guy who gets on base and, I'm over it. I think he still runs into some bumps on the road. So I will tell everybody to exercise caution here. And he's got a long leash. So
he does. And that's the thing. The Reds have nothing to lose. They're just living on the edge, having the time of their lives right now. It's like in Varsity Blues. Like, shit, them boys having the time of their lives right now.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's classic. I love Varsity Blues. But for me, it's just the guy looks so damn good, and he's not just some guy that came out of nowhere. He's got the power and the speed. I mean, I know my guy Steve here. I mentioned this. Eric Davis tribute. Where's number 44? Eric Davis should have been a Hall of Famer. He just had injuries that screwed up his career. I love Eric Davis, and he was worth all of it. He's a guy who could hit 37 dongs, steal 45 bases, steal 80 bases, and Elly De La Cruz has all that in him. He could whiff more. He will whiff more, and there's some loop to his swing, and there'll be some whiffs, and there'll be cold streaks. This is baseball. It's like I wrote about this week in Grooving with Govier Mike. It's just implied. Playing baseball implies cold streaks. It implies slumps. It's just part of the game as being a hitter in particular. And
I'm so glad you brought that up too, because it's such a overlooked thing. I think in the fantasy realm is that so many times a lot of us get so impatient with these guys. They go through hot streaks, they go through cold streaks. We're super high on the guys that are hot, and should I be dropping this guy after a month or two into the season because they're not playing well? So it's just part of the game, the ebbs and flows, and I don't think Elly De La Cruz is going to be somebody who's going to be immune to that. So he's definitely somebody that I think is going to be coming out of the gate hot, but I would not be surprised either if he, ran into some bumps. So, but playing half of his games in Great American Ballpark and hitting fourth, and, the best part about his game is his speed. And he hits the absolute snot out of the baseball. So I'm excited about him. I haven't been this excited about a prospect in a really, really long time.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go.
Steve says that the coaches told Elly to stop striking out so much, so he did. He walked twice in his pressure-packed debut. How about that? How about them apples?
Damn!
That's impressive, right?
Yeah, small sample size, but look at some of the guys that we've seen who had hot streaks, and now the league's adjusting. So somebody we'll get into a little bit later, but Jared Kelenic, right, came out of the gates hot, and now he's back to striking out a lot. So his K percentage is well in the mid 30s. So I don't know. I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yums. I'm really high on Elly De La Cruz.
Yuck anybody's yums. I've never heard that in my life.
There you go. Go and
wrong.
put that one in your
voice
hat.
is wrong.
Wow. Okay. Well,
was that a Varsity Blues clip I just heard?
Your attitude's wrong. Your tone of voice is wrong.
That's right. I'm talking to you. He's talking to you, man. Trying to clean that shit up. Elly De La Cruz is God, and everybody should spend all the money in the world on him, and that's it. And I wish I had him in Dynasty. God, I would kill to have him in Dynasty. It's so stupid that I don't. He's like the only guy I don't have, and I don't know how that happened exactly. But, there's a lot of people probably saying to me right now,
I don't want your life.
They probably are. They're probably saying that.
Who is a good player comp for Elly De La Cruz?
For Jonathan Moxon? I'd say Jonathan Moxon was kind of like probably a Kyle Orton in the end.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about Elly De La Cruz. Who's a good player comp to him right now, his skill set?
I mean, there is... Okay. It's not just the last name Cruz. Like, there's a lot of people say O'Neal Cruz, he looks like him in a way in terms of the body side. They're very slim and they're tall and slender.
Mm-hmm.
And they throw the ball really hard. There's a lot of similarities in their profiles that make sense, except that this Cruz, Elly De La Cruz, is much faster than O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, and I think he's a lot better than O'Neal Cruz. So
a lot better.
A lot better. I've seen comparisons to Fernando Tatis, and I think that one might be a little bit far-fetched as well. But
that would be terrible. I don't want him to be that.
You're talking about the drug use and
just the way he is, the way he's been.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yep.
I mean, the guy was the king of the world now, and it's been like almost 2 years. It's like, oh, remember that guy? I mean, I know he's still cranking dongs, and I don't know, man. I'd be bummed out about that a little bit, but you're probably right in terms of the power speed combo. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I compared Gunnar to Kevin Biggio. Thanks for yucking my yum.
Thanks for not yucking my yum.
Oh,
that's
not
right.
Yucking my yum.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Don't compare him to Biggio. Don't do that.
Gunnar, Henderson, Kevin Biggio, not a cool comparison. No. I guess Tatis, that's solid. I mean, I keep thinking Ronald Acuna with Elly De La Cruz. That's what I really think.
I like that too.
I know he's not as big as him, but in terms of the absolute speed, Elly De La Cruz has more power than Ronald Acuna. He really does.
Ooh.
So that's where it kind of ends there. Oh, he does. I think it's pretty clear that he does.
Acuna's been cranking some long ones this year.
He's shown life again in that department, and he tore his ACL. That's a big deal. So I got to give him credit there.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Luis Robert would be a better player than he's been. It would have been nice to see if Elly De La Cruz could have ended up like the best version of Luis Robert, but we haven't seen the best version of Luis Robert. So.
Nope. I think he cranked a home run today too.
That's nice. That's all he does now.
Can't stay healthy. Yeah, he can't stay healthy. So.
Well, he's healthy this year though, so don't ruin that. Do not ruin that. Again, another guy I wrote about. I have shares of Luis Robert. I thought he was going to be a first-round return this year. I really did.
Yeah.
I went heavy on Luis Robert, and I wrote about this week in my article that he cracked the 58-game played plateau already, which is a big deal for him because last year he only played 68. Last year he played 98 games, and the year before that he only played 68 games. So 58, 98, 68, they all line up. He's trying to knock down some milestones here. Go get him, Luis. Go get him.
There you go.
Whew. I love Elly De La Cruz, and I would do anything for him. I really would. And so we talked about how much we'd spend. What about the arrival of Christian Encarnacion-Strand? Everyone's going to expect that next, but you got to hold the phone, Mike. I mean, wait a minute. I skipped ahead. I played the song. I wanted to play at least one round of Name That Runner-Up FAAB Bid. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so in one of my leagues, let's see. I'd like to select Brian Wu, the Seattle Mariners flamethrower, was called up last weekend, and he did not pitch very well in his debut. But he went for $35 in my main event league. Can you name the runner-up FAAB bid for Brian Wu if $35 was the winning bid?
Is this after? I mean, I assume this is after his start. So
yeah, this is Sunday, last Sunday.
Yeah. I'm gonna say $12.
The answer is $23. That was the runner-up bid. So this bid was won by $12. Good job, buddy, whoever won that one. And let me give you one more. How about Royce Lewis of the Minnesota Twins, who survived an awful collision last weekend. He's okay. $429 was the winning bid. $429.
Wow.
For Royce Lewis. You think that's high?
I mean, he was crushing it in the minors prior to his call up. He was the number 2 Twins prospect. So
he's a super prospect. He's their guy. He's the man.
He's got the power and speed. You know, he hasn't other than those couple of home runs that he had, and I think he had an RBI single in the 9th to give the Twins the lead, I think, against Tampa Bay. Was it yesterday?
You sound like you're not that excited about Royce Lewis.
No, I am. I like him. I just, I get caught up in the moment too that, I wish the production that we saw in the minors when he was rehabbing came into fruition here in the majors. But that's a lot of money. 400. You said 429?
I did say 429. Absolutely.
Ooh.
What was the runner-up FAAB bid on $429 for Royce Lewis?
Well, I got to think it's still pretty high there. So I'll say 415.
Oh, boy.
I don't want your life.
No. The answer is $250. So that was
wow.
big spend. $429.
That's a big difference too. Wow.
That's a lot of money to lose, but if only that person had known. I know that person. I'm not going to name his name, but shout out to you, my friend, Mr. G. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, he spent over almost $200 more than he needed to, but that's life. I spent $52 on Reese Olson, and the runner-up bid for mine was $20, so I overspent by $32. But that's how it goes.
What was the price you got Matt McLain for, and what was the backup there?
Oh, I believe it was 152 to 120, but I can double check that. How did we do? Oh, we go back. Yeah, you scroll down. Bloop, bloop. Yep, 129. Yeah, 152 to 129.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind that.
That's great. I mean, I spent a lot of money. That's the most I've ever spent in FAAB on a player. I'm not kidding.
Is that right?
That's really. I've never spent more than $152 on a player in terms of winning a bid, anyways.
Got it.
All right, so we talked about that. Christian Encarnacion-Strand, when he arrives, Mike, I think people need to think about the situation that Cincinnati has, right?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And I know they got Joey Votto rehabbing as well, and he's likely coming back soon. He's another guy long in the tooth. I don't know how many years that he got left, but
it's 39, yeah, going on 40.
Yeah, it's just it's crowded there. So unless a trade or an injury happens or something like that, I still think I'm going to take that back. I have no idea when he's coming up because I thought Elly De La Cruz should have been called up a while back. And
well, for the record, Britton Allen in his debut on the show last week, and I'm sure he's trying to forget this happened. He started going on the record at the end of the show saying Elly De La Cruz will not be called up this year.
Yeah, I commented on your pod too. I was like, he's already on the 40 man, and he's like, forget everything I just said.
That's exactly what happened. You're right.
That's putting it mild.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, but
yeah, so you got, whether you like him or not, Joey Votto. I mean, they're not going to make a playoff run here, most likely, even though they're playing above their shorts. They're playing out of their minds. Those Reds are. It's a lot of fun. The Reds are like the funnest team ever. They really are. My friend Steve's having a ball. I'd be curious to see what Steve thinks, too, because Steve is really locked in on fantasy baseball, and he knows the Reds as well as anybody, whether he thinks CES, Encarnacion-Strand, will be up sooner than later. But I think maybe post-trade deadline. That's my guess here is post-trade deadline.
Yeah.
Because Spencer Steer's playing well. Matt McLain's playing well. There you go.
Rest of season, Matt McLain or Spencer Steer?
Oh, come on, man. That is so tight.
I know you love both those guys.
I do. That is so hard. That is a difficult one. I am in a pickle here. Matt McLain, Spencer Steer. I think I'm going to take Spencer Steer by a hair because I trust him more with his ability to draw a walk and get through hard times. And he's just such a professional. It's cheesy, but he's a professional hitter. He really is. He is a pro's pro. I'm going to take Steer by a hair. Well, he exploited Noah Syndergaard, which is fair, but yeah, he did. But yeah, he's stolen a lot of bases over last week, like 5 bases. So
he's been a surprise, and I wish I had him. I don't have any shares of him, but
and he's playing outfield now.
Yeah. So I think in Yahoo he qualifies at first and third, and then hopefully the outfield is now as well. So he's gonna be 3 different positions, which is obviously very useful in fantasy. So
he's still at first and third. Has not had outfield added yet. I would know because he's on my home league team in Yahoo, and I just looked to verify. So, but he'll get that eventually. He will.
Yeah.
Because Votto comes back Kevin Newman's been playing some first for the Reds now. Like, what the hell? That's stupid. Get out of here. Go away.
Yeah. Yep.
Get out of here. Yeah, go away. Come on. Go outside, nerd. Get out of here. Oh, I lost that button because I replaced it with this one.
I don't want your life.
Yeah. Only so many buttons here. Gilgamesh says, Digisteer is playing in left field now. They're clearing a spot for CES. It's the best CES around. Cincy's shit is blessed. Got the whole town on lockdown. Okay. I like that. Fuel Air Spark Garage. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. You're a newcomer. We love newcomers here. Benson. He's the real star of the Reds, boys. Don't sleep on Will Benson. Are you talking about Benson from the TV show Benson? Or you're talking about Will Benson? Do you love Will Benson? He's a sleeper? Don't sleep on him.
Yeah, I'm sleeping.
Oh, this is Robbie Baseball, by the way. Hey, what's up? Changed my YouTube name account. Oh, you're locked in on all your trucks and all your car bullshit now? Is that what it is? Have you given up on Dynasty Baseball, Robbie? How dare you? How dare you? I love Robbie. Robbie's the best. Dingers Podcast, Ty Childs, Robbie Baseball. Those guys are quality Canadians. And I'm excited to join my fellow Canadians in Canada. It's an exciting time for me. I do love Benson. Quick word on Benson. Is he more of a flash in the... Because people drafted him in preseason, Mike, thinking, oh, Will Benson's going to be a big opportunity for some secret steals. But then he was a total dud and went right back to the minors. Now he's back. Yeah. Now he's coming back. He was stealing bags. Now he's showing a little pop.
He had his first home run earlier this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. I think it was the walk-off one that the Reds won on.
So, Will Benson, enough playing time for Will to go around?
Yeah, that's my concern. I just don't know where they fit him in, but who knows?
He also stole those 3 bases in 2 games. That was last week, and now he hasn't stolen a base in a week almost.
Yeah. Yep.
Just saying. It's finicky. Stolen bases. If you lock on a stolen bases guy just for that, it's a risk you take. Doesn't always work out.
Yep.
How about this from Jamie? Hey, don't make fun of grease monkeys. We just might not stop to help you in a drive-by. I thought grease monkeys were just for helping me. My car needs help, not in a drive-by situation, which I've never been involved in, for the record.
Did you post something about your air filter too, not too long ago as well? You took it to a
you got a good memory. Look at check out the big brain on Mike. Wow.
Wow, dude.
Hey, from one steel trap to another, I'm in love with you right now. I love that shit. I love somebody who can match me in memory. That's a lot of fun. Steve's my friend. He can do that too. But I'll tell you, that was the air filter. You nailed it. That thing was a disaster. It was filled to the gills with trash. It was the original air filter on the car, 97,000 miles in. Idiots. Just idiocy. It's not, I wasn't the original owner. I bought it from my mom, and she trusts those. As you guys, you grease monkeys in the live chat can say, don't trust mechanics at a dealership. Don't trust the dealers to take care of your car. Don't do it. Robbie says, I'll never give up on my Dynasty Baseball. I just don't do fantasy baseball on YouTube. Look at the time I've wasted making you talk about Willie B. It's not a waste to talk about Willie Benson. Are you talking about Willie Beeman or Willie Benson?
Benson, probably.
I like Willie Beeman. My name is Willie. Willie Beeman. I'll keep the ladies screaming. All right. What's next here? Oh, so you want to talk about some of the next big stashes prospect-wise. What do you think? What's the story?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's been rumblings about Shane Bieber possibly getting dealt, so I'm intrigued by Gavin Williams. He's one of the guys. I know you guys talked about it on the podcast earlier at 5. Pitching prospects are probably more some of the guys we should be targeting. And I think Gavin Williams has got to be up there, at least for me. Somebody I'd be looking to stash. I don't know how soon he comes up. I'm thinking kind of like you with CES. I think he's probably right around the trade deadline that we'll probably see him. Unless somebody gets hurt. I know Aaron Savali pitched pretty well today, or was pitching well before we got on here against the Red Sox. So and crowded rotation. And
he's looking good, Savali has, since he came off the IL, which is great news. Another solid start. Only 3 Ks. He's not missing bats, but he's doing what he does. Keep the ratios down for the most part. Got a win against Boston today.
Yeah. Yep.
Congratulations, Mr. Savali.
Jordan Westberg, not because I'm an O's homer, but
Jordan.
Yeah, I think he's somebody that might get the call here soon. I don't think any of these guys have Elly De La Cruz type hype. But is there anybody that you have your? I saw that comment. Ooh, good question. Cowser or Westberg? That's a good question. I don't know. I wish I had an idea of which way they were leaning. I guess we'll find out. But I love Colton Cowser too. So matter of time before he gets the call. It's just where do all these guys play? Is the question here. So,
but how impactful can they be right out the gate? I mean, not every rookie can just kick ass.
Yeah, exactly. If you're asking me to pick between Jordan Westberg and Colton Cowser in terms of just how impactful they can be, I mean, I think I like Cowser's pedigree a little bit more than Westberg, but I know people were calling for Jordan Westberg to be called up during the Gunnar Henderson struggles. And obviously that didn't happen, and Gunnar's trying to play better. So I don't know. It's a good question.
A lot of good questions here, folks. Good questions. Yeah. Here's the Orioles 40-man roster, by the way. Let's go down to infielders. No Westberg there yet. Joey Ortiz still on there. Someone's got to go. This Josh Lester guy, I mean, come on, get out of here.
Yeah.
Go away. Yeah, he can go. Ryan O'Hearn, like, we're really still dedicated to Ryan O'Hearn. I know he's had a couple clutch hits here and there, but get the hell out of here. Come on.
I'm glad you're going to the outfield spot, because there's somebody on there that should be just standing off the page here to you that they should just get rid of now and let Colton Cowser play.
Is that Aaron Hicks?
Yes, 100%. And I was so distraught when we signed him, because I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, Mullins is hurt. Maybe we bring up Cowser. Who knows? And then I saw the Twitter notification that Aaron Hicks signed with us. My wife is a Yankees fan, so
ooh,
the clashing going on in here.
Attitude's wrong. Your tone of voice is wrong.
I certainly don't like him enough to play him over Colton Cowser, but I don't know if you feel differently.
Well,
I do.
You like Aaron Hicks?
I don't hate him. I think he's a professional guy. As long as he's healthy, he's got that professional classic. I can get on base. OBP's not terrible, but he's just never healthy, so it's always a ticking time bomb. But
yeah,
he's not really produced much in the last couple of years because of injuries, and I'm sure he'll just get hurt again. There's no reason to think that he'll be healthier in Baltimore than he was in New York, unless New York is just a time trap where you go into the Bronx and then you come out the shell of a man, and you're like, what the hell happened? What the hell's going on here? Right?
That's right.
I think you can cut loose some of those guys. I want to mention, everyone's talking about Cowser and Westberg, but why does nobody talk about Heston Kierstad? That guy can mash, and the guy is a top stud.
He's been playing well as well. Yeah, I like him. And then Colby Mayo is another guy that doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. I like both those guys. He's got a lot of great talent in the minors, and I'm excited for the future. So, but obviously, only so many spots to go around.
Well, I know Kierstad's still at AA.
Mm-hmm.
He's hitting 310, 383.
He's been crushing the ball.
Yeah, almost 600 slugging, guys. So he's hitting 300, almost a 600 slugging, 11 dong. He's doing it all there. He's hits 15% strikeout rate. Not a ton of walks, 7% walk rate, but I don't care. I've seen this guy hit in real life, up close and in person. This guy is a classic professional hitter, and I really think that he should get the opportunity, even though he's at AA right now. I wouldn't rule it out. Let's see how it plays out here. But everyone's jumping on who's at AAA, and there's a pecking order here. But none of these guys are on the 40-man, so anything could happen.
Well, then you bring up another point too in your other podcast today. That something about AA and AAA, and we look at AA more as the guys getting called up more from AA than AAA, and how does that work? And are we looking at AA kind of as the litmus test in terms of when guys are ready and all that good stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think there's real context-based situation for all teams. Yeah, there's some teams that are like, hey, I really trust AA more, and we don't like our AAA situation. It's like we said on the show, there's differences in ballparks at different leagues at different levels, and you just gotta dive into it a little bit more and make the effort. We'll try to give you guys as much information as we can here by telling you that certain parks have more of a hitter's advantage than others depending on the level they're at, but you got to look into the team context. I think that's important, Mike. It's
100%.
Robbie said here, Mayo is the best guy not on that 40-man.
One can make an argument. I just don't think he gets enough love. I'm probably the highest on Cowser. That's just me, but
you love Kobe Mayo.
I do love him. I just don't think he gets talked about enough. And I get it. There's a lot of guys in the minors that a lot of people are excited about between him, Westberg, and Kierstad, and obviously Grayson Rodriguez is back down there now. When's he come back up? And Gunnar Henderson. Yep. So it's just a plethora. It's a good problem to have, I would say. So
it is a great problem to have. What a lucky time it is for us to be alive. Kyle says, Govier, I know you like walk percentage. How about a 19.9%, 347, 484, 590 triple slash? And tell me more about how you prefer Hicks to Cowser. Pure slander. Well, I did not say that, Steven. I did not say I prefer Hicks to Cowser. I'm just saying that Mike shit on Hicks, and I'm like, well, he's not god awful, but I'm not saying Hicks is better than Cowser. I'm just saying I know how the game goes. You know how the game goes, Steve. Come on. Yeah. Oh, he's calling it Slantander. Yeah, it is. It's a Slantander. It's an Anthony Slantander. It's ridiculous. Getting goddamn ridiculous here. Robbie says, Mayo, a high school bat. The rest are years older. Oh, all right. All right. Look, I'd love to give you some more prospect names to stash, but it gets complicated. I talked about it on the Prospect Show. You go back, you can hear more about that on the Prospect Show, which is available on YouTube and all your preferred podcast platforms as soon as I get it out, because this is like the 5th podcast I've done today. I got to do a lot of work after this. All right. What are we doing with these struggling players? Hold or fold, Mike? Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. A couple of names interested to hear your take on, but and I know that we talked about this first guy last week, and we also talked about him on Twitter a couple times. Alek Manoah, who just got
that's putting it mildly.
He didn't even get optioned. Where did he go again?
He went to the Complex League.
Complex, yeah.
He went to the Complex League in Florida, which is like just the beginning. It's where everybody starts, really. It's like rookie ball.
I wonder if it's mental at this. I mean, it has to be. I know the underlying metrics are not great, and I know they're trying to get them right, because the Blue Jays are going to need him if they want any chance of making the playoffs. Their hitting's great, but the guy, I was really, really surprised that they kept rolling him out there with how bad he has been. And I was surprised the move didn't happen sooner. But I guess what I would say regarding Alek Manoah is I'm probably folding in shallower leagues, and I'm holding in the deeper leagues.
Save it, Dad.
I don't know if you feel differently.
Look, I can't go into specifics here, but just trust me. It's time to move on from Manoah for this year. Say goodbye.
Yeah.
I'd say if you're in the Palazzo Discord, I will say, it's a great place. It's totally free if you've never been there. And if you're afraid of Discord, you think it's just a place where all the QAnon people hang out. That's not true. There's much more to Discord than just that. There's video gamers. There's people like me and our wonderful community in the Palazzo Podcast. We got some great people in there who give some really interesting insights that you're not going to hear on Twitter. You're not going to hear on MLB Network, okay? Trust me on that. And from what I gather from people who might know a thing or two about this, Mike, trust me on this. It's just Manoah's got a long road ahead, and it's just time to move on for this year. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, and when I say holding in deeper leagues, and especially in Yahoo's, he's NA. So if you have an NA spot, maybe, but at the same time too,
maybe.
What's his floor at this point when he does come back? Are you going to feel comfortable even rolling him out? I mean, I don't think we're going to see Alek Manoah of last year at all this year. So it might just be a lost season for him. But
it is. It's just a real bummer. It is. Sound Money says they have a RA-Anon and SA-Anon too now. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I'm falling behind on all my Anons. That's cool. Robert Booth says, I traded Elly De La Cruz away last week for Lucas Giolito. What? Robert Booth, what? You messing with me? Come on.
Wow, dude.
That's pretty cool. Do you feel good about it, Robert?
Would you make that trade, Michael?
Oh, you know the answer to that, Mike. Come on. It's all context-based. I need to see the roster. Too many of these trades in a vacuum shit. Give me all the information possible so I can answer the question. All the information possible to answer it properly.
Yep.
And I'd love to. I'm not trying to be cryptic with the Manoah stuff, but I'm respecting someone who I respect who said, I'm not going to reveal the situation there, but just trust me that it's probably a lost season for Manoah. Who else? Let's talk about somebody else that we could really rip into a bit more for their bad play.
Jared Kelenic, who again I talked about earlier in this show, but his K percentage is up to 32.6 and has been struggling with striking out. And if you're comparing that to somebody like Christopher Morel, who's at 36.5, are you worried or concerned about Jared Kelenic? Are you holding or are you folding?
Well, it's funny because I wrote about this week, so I have a direct answer for you. Here it is. This is from my Groovin' with Govier article, totally free. I wrote about Jared Kelenic. Since May 2nd, Jared Kelenic has a WRC plus of 96. Over his first 105 plate appearances, Kelenic had a 175 WRC plus. Clearly, Kelenic has fallen on hard times, but they're not so hard that Kelenic is a lost cause. Yeah, he's got a 35.5% K rate since May 2nd, but he's still just under league average when it comes to producing runs. Most fantasy managers will take that in comparison to how Jose Abreu or Gene Segura started the first 6 weeks with a 37 WRC plus. Over the rest of June, the Mariners' weakest opponent is probably the White Sox or the Nats. Kelenic may possibly face the likes of Luzardo, Dylan Cease, Garrett Cole, Tyler Wells, Mackenzie Gore. June will be a crucial month for Kelenic this season as he will be at arguably his lowest point of the season. The verdict is playoff-bound Seattle needs Kelenic to pull through. His ability to go to all fields and his hard hit rate will see him through safely to the other side.
Very nice.
Isn't that great news?
That's he's a hold for me as well. I mean, obviously the prospect pedigree is there and highly touted when he was coming up, but and he's definitely shown a huge leap from even last year. So I'm holding. I'm with you.
Okay, so Robert Booth's getting antsy. So remember, he just traded Elly for Giolito last week, and then he said he likes Elly, but he grabbed CES off waivers, so that's good. He's got another Reds prospect in the pipeline.
Yep.
Can you give me your opinion on that trade, please? Mike, what's your opinion on the trade in a vacuum without any other context? Giolito for Elly.
Well, I'm going to echo what you said earlier, too. It depends on team context, and I like having all the information before I give an answer. But in a vacuum,
Save it, Dad.
in a vacuum, I'm probably going. In a vacuum, I'm probably going Elly. I just think the talent is just he has league winning upside, yeah, he's that good. I mean, from the power and speed combination, it's just hard to find that. He's playing some third base. You're going to get some, hopefully, is he? I think he's already qualified at third, if I'm not mistaken. So he gets shortstop and third base eligibility. I like Giolito, but like at the same time too, the White Sox have been kind of a disappointment. Again, depends on team need, but in a vacuum, I'm taking Elly.
Take a look at Giolito's profile here on Pitcher List. Give you a nice graphic. Look at that. 74 innings pitched. ERA's under 4. Whips at 1.2. This is classic Giolito. Just can't get that whip down. 24.5% K rate, 8% walk rate. And swing strike rate, 13%. Not bad. The expected ERA is a little higher than his current ERA. I mean, look at this. Giolito has the breakout in 2019, where he finishes the season with a 3.41 ERA. Right?
I'm beginning to think that season was the outlier, though.
But what about 2021? I mean, he finished with a 3.53, but he still was basically the same pitcher as he was in 2019.
What were the Ks? Sorry, I'm trying to look at him here. What were the Ks from those 2 years?
Yeah, give me the standard. How do you organize this thing? I'm an idiot. There you go. There we go.
So not too far off. Yeah, he had 228.
201.
201. Okay.
Yeah. So, I just think he's not the guy. We thought he was going to progress to a Cy Young caliber pitcher. Yeah. And it turns out that he's like a number 2, number 3. He's not the ace of the staff. I really thought he was. I really did. And I wanted to draft him this year. I actually think he was still a decent buy in terms of where you got him this season, but he's not going to be. I'd rather have, without knowing anything else, Robert, I guess I'd rather have Elly De La Cruz.
Do you remember the trade that the Nationals and the White Sox made? Do you remember what that trade was and who the White Sox acquired? and who the Nats acquired.
The Giolito trade?
Yep.
Giolito, was it the straight up deal between the Nats and White Sox, or was it a third party?
Nope, just those two teams.
Yeah, Christ, the White Sox sent somebody over there. And I can't remember who it is right now. I used to know this trade inside out. You got me. What's the answer?
Adam Eaton.
Oh, my favorite. One of my longtime
Giolito.
fantasy crushes, Adam Eaton. Loved him in OBP leagues.
For Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, and Dane Dunning.
Yeah.
Those are the three guys that they traded.
But the Nationals did win a World Series, so it was worth it.
They did. I will note that I was a big hater on that trade, and I'm like, whoa, a high-level guy like Lucas Giolito for Adam Eaton?
Yep.
They won the World Series with him, and he was a vital piece to that run. So
any trade that leads to a championship is just automatically good enough. It's like, who cares? Yeah, because that's a big deal. Also, Robert says his league is a 5x5 roto categories, and he already has Bogarts and Willy Adames. So he thought by moving Elly De La Cruz, he'd get a pitcher. But I would have rather kept Elly over Bogarts for sure, whose wrist is real concern for me. Yeah, it is a problem. I'm excited about Willy Adames now because he showed power right away. It looks like the worst part of Willy Adames' season is over now. We're actually going to see the better. I was already expecting him to play better going forward, so I was ready to commit to Willy Adames. I'll say that freely. I will.
Yeah.
But I would have rather moved Bogarts. I would.
Same.
Yeah. So, who's the guy that replaces DeGrom? Is it Dane Dunning? Jamie, I love you. You're always so, he's honest. He's not kidding. He's serious. And Dane Dunning's already in the rotation, but Dane Dunning is just, it finally happened, by the way. I should have led the show with this, that Dane Dunning finally gave up his first home runs of 2023. It finally happened. I was waiting for it forever, Mike.
Nolan Arenado.
That's right. Nolan Arenado was the first guy to finally hit a home run after 48 innings of no homers. He gave up 3 in that game, and it was so nice to see that streak come to an end because I knew it was bullshit. It was total bullshit, Mike.
Yeah, I saw your
bullshit!
I saw your tweet.
Thank you. Good. Okay.
I'm in agreement with you on Dane Dunning.
So who else is so Jared Kelenic? What's your bottom line on Kelenic then?
I'm holding him in all leagues. I mean, he's shown it once before. He adjusted. The league's adjusted to him. He's just got to adjust back. So, and that's the game of baseball. So, I'd like to see him back towards like that 6 hole. I think when he was really starting to get going, that's where he found a lot of his success. So, but yeah, I think he went 2 for 4 last night too. And even got a hit off Josh Hader. So, who knows? Maybe he'll start turning around.
I've made a huge mistake.
The next guy, and I think this is somebody that I think we're both going to be in agreement on, is Christopher Morel. Are you holding or are you
Call 911!
Well, yeah, I'm folding because it's so funny how he's like, God, we're all like, Christopher Morel, oh my God, this guy's incredible.
I've made a huge mistake.
That's what happens. And now Morel, more likely than not, Mike, Morel.
Good at what? Sitting on ass?
Yeah, he might be sitting on ass a lot more, and he could be demoted. I mean, he had the tear. It was such a tear. It was like all those home runs in a row and like a week of 8 home runs or so. It was just too good to be true, but he's also not this awful. So I'm kind of stuck right now. It was too hot. I know it had to cool down. The question is, where does he fit in? He hasn't played in the last couple of games. Is that because he sucks now, or is it because there's other guys they want to get in the lineup? There's a few reasons for that.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. I think it's not over. I don't think it's over.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on the last time I was on here too, but anybody that expected Christopher Morel to keep up this torrid pace, you are sorely mistaken here. But I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he's that bad. And again, because he qualifies at so many different positions, it really, like we always say, it really depends on who else is available and who you'd be cutting him for. But, if you're in a shallow league and there's somebody that's, somebody you're interested in picking up, I could see maybe possibly moving on from him. But if you're playing a deeper league, I'm probably still holding. Give it a couple more, maybe a week or 2. But the playing time's not there either. So that's something that's starting to concern me a little bit.
Yeah, he was out of his mind this year. He's come back down to earth, but he's only 23 years old, so he's still a developing player. I'm not out on him. He's got some more developing to do, but he might have to do it in the minor leagues again for a little bit. Also, Robert says, dang, thank you, fellas. I'm just trying to survive in a tough league. I lost to Grom, O'Neal Cruz, and Robbie Ray. Hey, Robert, everybody feels your injury pain. I swear. We all know it. We thank you for being here, Robert. Me and Mike, we love having you here, man. This is great. This is what it's about. Honest conversation. Ad drops. What would you do? What would we do? That's what you want to know, right?
Yep.
He also says, actually traded Machado away for Adames and Evan Phillips the same day I traded Elly for Gio. Oh, so you brought Adames in. Okay, well, that's different. There's more context that we need to know. That's all, Robert. Yep. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you're here, Robert, for real. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend.
I'm not arguing that with you.
And then Guy Algames says, Dunning, Caper 9, 5.53, XFIP 463, ERA 252, Sierra 4.62. Dude is washed.
I love rumors.
That's not a rumor. Those are facts.
I was never in on Dane Dunning. Full disclosure.
Robert says, you guys are awesome. Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, Robert. You are too.
Good to have you here. Follow us on Twitter, MJ Govier, MKB Fantasy. We're both Mikes. We're doing the Plots of Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah, give me 2.
If you want more like this when we're not on the air, the Discord's always humping and hopping and humping and bumping, all those things. It's doing all that shit. If you like humping and bumping and rumping and rump shaker, you're going to love Plots of Podcast Discord. I swear you will, Robert. Glad you're here. All right. Anybody else? Was that it for that segment?
No, that was it. But I did want to bring up one more name real quick. Dylan Cease.
Ooh, Dylan! I got Dylan Cease on my Tout Wars team.
Yeah.
In fact, I have Dylan Cease and Lucas Giolito on my Tout Wars team. I bought them both in my auction. I paid for them in my auction. I thought I was getting a good deal on Cease at like $22.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out I got a bad deal.
Well, I mean, he's definitely not pitching to. There you go, hump day. He's definitely not pitching to the caliber that we saw last year, and I still think that he can get. I still think he can get there in terms of up in his case.
Still thinks it.
Yeah, I do. I really do. The White Sox as a whole have not been very good, and who knows? Maybe he has a strong
in the Burger King bathroom, I'm crazy. Allow me to amaze thee. They say I'm ugly, but it just don't faze me. I'm still getting in the girls' pants, and I even got my own dance.
This is your chance to hump.
Come on.
There you go. We're doing the hump.
Good tune.
Anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously a hold here, but do you have any faith, confidence that he can turn it around and give us what he was like last year?
Well, let's go to the highlights. Dylan Cease, currently 4.63 ERA, 1.37 whip. Not good, especially for a guy who finished last year with a sub 250 ERA. Is that right?
Yeah, I traded for him last year, and I was really, really happy because he was mowing people down with those Ks.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yep.
Best time ever. Let's take a look at his recent starts here in the game log. Maybe give us a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a lead on Dylan Cease. Here we go. Whoop. All right. His last outing against my Bozo Tigers. He went 5 1/3, gave up 1 earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks, 99 pitches. Solid outing. Not too bad, right? 3 walks. 4 walks the previous outing against the same Bozo Tigers, and that was in a 4-inning effort with 4 earned runs given, 8 Ks. He's all over the map. I don't know how we could find consistency. The only thing I can say is that he should be better. So it may be a good time to buy Dylan Cease because he should be better. And that's really all I got, though. I don't feel great about what I'm saying, Mike.
Go Tigers. That swinging strike percentage is up to 23.2%, which was his highest since his May 13th outing. He was in the single digits.
Okay.
So that's something maybe to be.
But he was in single digits the previous 3 games. So we want to see that again.
More consistency. I like to see that swinging strike.
Good God.
In the 20s again. We'll know. We'll know hopefully in the next couple of starts here whether or not we're going to I like Galgamesh. We'll see. I still have faith that he can turn it around. Noting that, ever since he's come up, I think he's always had an issue with walking guys. So he's definitely going to get a leash on that, but we'll see.
I just feel that by the end of a season, his ERA will be closer to 4. Because this is how it goes sometimes. It doesn't go the way you want it, especially the White Sox. They've just been a pain in the ass. They really have.
Can't do it.
They've been all over the place. So
they have.
I'm saying, yeah, I'm buying it. I am. I would buy a Cease now. By the season's end, I bet his numbers look better at the end than they do now. I really do. I really believe that.
Genius, genius, genius.
All right, so we're running out of time here. What else you want to do? Want to do one more thing here, and then we're going to hit the road. You pick.
Let's see. Well, I do want to note too. Anybody who's got questions in the chat, keep sending them our way. Love to answer questions. Since
anytime.
Since we're talking about buy low, what are some other guys that you're looking to buy low on right now, who maybe not be off to the greatest starts? Maybe some guys that you're looking to target in trades. Anybody that you're targeting?
You know what? I always forget to mention this. We have an email. It's palazzopodcast@gmail.com. So if you guys want to send emails too, please do. Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's @gmail.com. Let's take advantage of that.
Give me 2.
And we can start using that. You got questions for Mike or me or anybody's on the show, we're happy to answer them. And, of course, the Discord's a great place to talk about that stuff in more of a full context. And Twitter. Follow Mike on Twitter, please, at MKB Fantasy. He's the man. He's a good man. Galgamesh says, Cease can't locate the slide piece. His mechanics are garbage. I think his mustache makes him too top-heavy. So he flies open to the first base side. Ooh. Well,
That's
that
a
makes
sweet
a lot of
mustache.
sense. It is. It's not as cool as Nestor Cortez's, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Robert's back. He says, my league, 9 pitchers allow you to put majority RP in. So I have been running with Hader, Sewald, Cano. I dropped Michael King, not the man. No, he's not the man. That's shocking. Just got my Oz back. Oz? Who's Oz? I'm stupid. Ozzy Albies?
No, I mean, he hasn't been hurt.
Oz back. Oz. And Alvarez tomorrow. So Ozzy, Oz, Oscillator, Oz. You tell me. Just tell us. We're not going to guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so buy low candidates. Do you have one off the top of your head?
I will note that I know you drafted this guy. I believe so. Sandy Alcantara.
Ooh. You're blaming me?
No, on somebody I'd be looking to maybe buy low on.
And you want me to change? Fuck you!
I just think he's too talented. I think he's a lot better than what we've seen from him. So I do think he figures it out at some point. But he's, especially with this state of starting pitching, he's somebody I might be looking to target.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've been saying that for at least 2 weeks now. I know he keeps teasing like, oh, he'll get a little bit more Ks, but then he still walks some more guys. People are laying off his stuff, and there's a big part of me that feels that Sandy Alcantara actually maybe got too caught up. Now, this is a lot of conjecture, Mike. It's hearsay, but I saw him on some magazine covers, and he won a Cy Young. It's going to make you, make your head a little bit bigger. It's a big deal. You got to think about these guys as human beings, right?
Yep.
Like, oh, look at me. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man. But he still generally looks to be the guy he has been. There's no changes too much in velocity or anything. It's just been some bad breaks too in terms of luck hasn't gone his way and the strand rate and things like that. So I'm fully on board with Sandy. Maybe I got too caught up and I thought what last year was who he would be going forward for the next couple of years, like a real dominant run. Maybe I got a little too caught up there and I got to pull myself back from that exciting rocket ship of a ride. But I'm still down. I'm totally down.
Yeah, I'd be somebody I'd be looking to target. And then another keeping the theme of starting pitching. And you're probably not going to agree with me here, but Shane Bieber, somebody I'd be looking to buy low.
Ooh, sell me on that.
I do think he's going to get traded, and I do think he's going to go somewhere to maybe a contender. Maybe he goes to somebody like Houston, or maybe he goes to somebody like Baltimore, or maybe he goes to just a better situation for him. Because I do think with all the top guy or the young guys that they have coming up between Gavin Williams and Logan Allen and Tanner Bybee and all these guys, I think a change of scenery will be good for him. And also noting that Cleveland has not been very good from a run producing perspective. So I know the K's haven't been there for him. So I think a change of scenery will be good. And I think he goes, who knows, maybe he goes somebody like LA, maybe the Dodgers are hurting at starting pitching. Maybe he goes somewhere where his situation just gets a lot more improved. So I'd be looking to buy now as opposed to paying a premium for him when he does get traded.
He's getting hit a lot harder this year. The swinging strike rate is down 2. He's not whiffing as much, and he's getting crushed in terms of the hard hit rate. It's not great. It's not. But yet, all the ballyhooing about Shane Bieber, he still has a 3.57 ERA this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of pitchers would be happy with that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really people are pissed about the K's not being there.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I don't know where people were drafting him as in terms of for your own staff. If you were thinking for him to be this your ace and not having the K's there, I could see feeling a certain way about that. So, yeah.
Well,
weren't his K's down last year though too? If I'm not mistaken, I believe they were.
I think they've not. I mean, not as much as this year. That's for sure.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
Right.
But if you're saying there's a trend here, what happened?
I don't know.
Did his mechanics go sideways? I mean, he also pitched 200 innings last year, and he'd done that in 2019 when he pitched 214. So maybe there's a combination too of the pitch clock's not great for him. The workload went big, and he's like, it's a little bit too much for me. But his K9 did drop a lot from 2021 because it was 12.4 in 2021. And last year, it was 8.9 and 200 innings pitched. But he had a 2.88 ERA. So it's like, okay, great, cool, we'll take it.
Yeah. Where do you see him as a possible landing spot for him if and when he does get traded?
Well, I've always been saying, me and Ben have been saying on the Prospect Show that it's a match made between Cleveland and Baltimore. They're made for each other. One needs pitching, the other needs hitters. So that's it. So there it is.
Yeah.
Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, and maybe a change of scenery is good for him in terms of getting back to the Shane Bieber of old. But who knows? We'll see. But again, just purely off the fact that he's going to be going to a contender, I imagine somebody's going to be interested in his services. I'm looking to buy now. So,
Robert Booth says Bieber to Atlanta, and they send Vaughn Grissom to Cleveland. I think they want more of a power bet than a Vaughn Grissom. Vaughn Grissom,
yeah.
I know Ahmed Rosario has been a disaster, and Andres Jimenez they've both been disasters this year.
Yep.
But Vaughn Grissom kind of fits into their mold. They need something different. Yeah. But I like, Atlanta trying to acquire another starting pitcher. It seems unlikely, but they're a championship chasing club, so it would make sense that they would try to get a guy like Bieber. That does make sense. I like that. I like where your head's at, Robert. That's good stuff. And by the way, Robert meant when he said Oz earlier, he was typing Munoz of Seattle. So
got it.
Phone error.
Yeah,
that does happen. Bieber, by the way, I think there might be something wrong with him here. He's trying to pitch through because that's what it looks like with this trend now over 2 years. That something is really just getting worse and worse, and we need to hear about this sooner or later because this is going back to last year. Now that you brought it up,
yep. And then the other 2 hitters, really quick. I don't know if anybody's going to be looking to move him, but if you're able to, I at least try to make some offers for somebody like Manny Machado, Kyle Schwarber. Somebody, 2 of those guys I'd maybe be looking to buy. So Schwarber loves June. He's been so bad that he's going to be so good now. So it's so obvious. It's probably already too late, but if you can still get a shot at him, go for it. Yeah, agreed. So those are the 2 other hitters I'd be looking to possibly make a trade for.
Manny Machado, I'm not into Manny Machado. I don't want anything to do with him, actually. I just don't. I can't give you a good reason. So that's not going to be good enough for you. And probably the people listening or watching. I don't have a good enough reason for you. Something about Manny Machado this year, it's not going to all come together for him. That's my vibe. But then again, I could be bitter because I drafted him in my main event and he got hurt and he hasn't been very good. So maybe you guys shouldn't listen to me, and I have to put all of that on the table. I can't lie about any of it.
Yeah, and the only reason why I say 2 buys because obviously the team context is great between Soto and Tatis, and if he gets sandwiched between those 2 or even hits behind those 2, obviously a good situation to be in. But also he's been pretty damn consistent over his time in San Diego. I know he's, last year he had that crazy foot injury, and he still, where he like almost looked like he broke his foot, like his foot fell off. I don't know if you remember that play when he was running.
I do remember
base.
that.
Yeah. But we're talking about one of the more consistent hitters in baseball. So I do think, obviously, yes, he has struggled, but I do think he's somebody that can turn it around and turn it around quick. So, not to mention too that whole Padres team has been so weird. We were just talking about it earlier with Gary Sanchez. So Soto didn't get off to the greatest of starts. Tatis obviously coming back from suspension. So, I think once things start to mesh a little bit, mold a little bit, I think he's somebody that, depending on what you're giving up for him, obviously, somebody I might be looking to acquire.
Well,
bye, Felicia.
I wish I could move on from him, but I can't. Can't trade in money advanced leagues. Can't trade on those NFBC teams. Manny Machado's a guy who also had a hand fracture. I know it was a small hand fracture. It wasn't that big a deal, but that concerns me. He's been back for a week, still no home runs. Mm-hmm. I think what's bothering me most, and I think this is a real concern, is that the power is sapped this year. That could be, if you're trying to use him for power.
Yeah, I was literally just going to use those words. Do you think his hand injury is going to end up sapping his power here a little bit?
Yeah, that's actually how I feel right now. But I'm also the guy. I'm always ready for the script to be flipped with players. Like, they're going one way, they're going to go another way eventually, because that's how this game works. Adjustments are made, and that's just the classic nature of baseball. So he'll probably be better than he's been. I'm really confused. I'd rather just not be in business with him, but I don't think you're missing out on like game-changing stats from Manny Machado over the next 2 months. I do not think you are.
Yeah, like I said, if he's an elite level talent, I think if you're able to get something, if you're able to trade something away where you're not going to miss that part to acquire a guy that we were drafting in the top 24 picks, top 2 rounds, doesn't hurt. So it really depends on who you're giving up for him. But yeah, we'll see. Noting that he was a Baltimore guy too, I know he has some kind of douchebag moments in Baltimore. The whole thing with Dustin Pedroia and him not running to first and all that good stuff. Yeah.
That's a long time ago. Come on.
Yeah, he was a kid. I root for Manny. I like Manny a lot. So I am pulling for him to be successful and turn it around here soon. And in your case as well. So,
yay! My life is great again.
Yeah. Anybody else that you're looking to buy on? I know I mentioned 4, but anybody else that you got your eye on that you're looking to acquire?
There's no. Guile says, if Machado's injury saps power, what say you about Soler's thumb? Ooh.
Yeah, I actually have Soler. I wrote about him not too long ago, prior to his home run streak that he was on. Anybody could have seen that coming with how good he's been against lefties in his games in cores, and since then he's not been very good. Yeah, he has not been very good, and part of that probably has something to do with the thumb. He's been also striking out a lot, but that's who Soler is, right? I don't think this is news to anybody. He's going to go on these streaks where he hits a crap ton of home runs and then go through these cold streaks. He's not going to be somebody who's going to be able to help you out from a power or average perspective, more so for the power. He's the NL version of Adam Duvall. So
yeah. Well, Robert says, I traded Manny Machado for Willie Adames and Evan Phillips. He's telling Auto Rhythm that because he already told us that. He's also saying, I had Ezekiel and he got hurt. Ezekiel Duran. I dropped him and luckily got him back. Well, good for you, because Ezekiel Duran's awesome. I know he doesn't walk, but who cares? He makes a lot of contact. He's a gamer. He's just one of these gamers. I know it sounds stupid to say, but trust me on that. It's just how it is. I love Ezekiel Duran. I'm pro Ezekiel. He's awesome.
Flawless victory. I'm pro anybody in that Rangers lineup. How good have they been? It's just from top to bottom. Even Leody Taveras.
Good time to sell, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Leody Taveras, who Bruce Bochy thinks the best part of his career is just getting going here for Leody Taveras, who was a highly touted prospect.
Yep.
So that's good news. I have Taveras in a couple leagues where I need a batting average, and he's been great for that. It's been such a pleasure to have batting average be a relevant thing again. That's more common in baseball this year. I cannot tell you how much pleasure it brings me, because I grew up. It just reminded me that it was so much removed from the game over the last 10, 15 years. and now it's back. And I love that part of the game growing up. I love batting average guys. Like the fact that Luis Arias of the Marlins is on a hunt for 400. We haven't even whiffed that kind of shit in a long time. And now it's back in our faces. It's not going to happen, but it's at least cool that it's going on in June still. Yeah. It really did get so bad. And I know there's a lot of talk about it already, but it really is just stuck in my craw now. Like, wow, I love batting average in baseball. It's an important stat for me. It's an enjoyable stat. I used to love the batting title winners and those guys who got base hits. And now I appreciate it more than ever, Mike, because it was gone.
I'm with you 100%. I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, since, I know we're talking about Luis Arias and him, I think he's hitting over 400 now, if I'm not mistaken. But like the last time we saw that was like Ichiro Suzuki and Joe Mauer and, those guys who were hitting, but they still weren't even getting anywhere close to 400. But don't
forget my guy, though.
Go Tigers.
Magglio Ordonez. Magglio Ordonez.
Yeah.
He hit.
Right.
He won the batting title in 2007. He hit 363 that year. 363.
It's pretty damn good. I did not know that he hit that high.
Oh, that was his final. I mean, he had a real high watermark for the short time he was elite. He just couldn't be elite long enough. But he hit 363 in 2007 with the Tigers. It was awesome.
That's crazy. I loved him with Chicago too. He was one of my favorite players in the league. I loved his stance. I loved his swing. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it was almost so weird when he came over to the Tigers because he was a White Sox. Like, oh, this guy's a division rival. This is weird that he's here. And he had a major knee issue. So it was like, oh, we're getting the leftover shit here. But it wasn't at all. He also hit the walk-off home run to take the Tigers to the World Series against the Oakland A's in Game 4 of the ALCS at home. That was one of the most exciting moments in Detroit sports history over the last 40 years. So Magglio will always live in the hearts of Detroit and Michiganders, for sure.
What did Miggy hit when he was winning the Triple Crown? I mean, his
344. I think he hit 344 off the top of my head. But that might have been his home runs. Now he's a piece of shit, so, It's funny how the game changes on you like that,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, hey, I was one thing, and now I'm this.
And you want me to change? Fuck you!
That's Miguel Cabrera. Seriously, that's what he's saying to everybody. Like, no, I'm still here. I'm collecting this massive paycheck, and I don't do shit. I have a WRC plus of 56 this year. So.
Yeah, definitely not what he once was, but in my lifetime, he's arguably the best hitter. Somebody actually brought it up not too long ago. I want to say it was last year. They brought up comparing the careers of Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera. And if you could go, knowing what we know about their careers, who would you rather have between Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols?
Oh, it's Pujols.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's not even close, really.
Yeah, I'm a Miguel guy. I just liked him because there's not a spot that you couldn't pitch, that you could pitch Miguel Cabrera. You could try away, you could try in, you could try up, you could try low. The guy's just
phenomenal. Pujols was just as deadly.
The same way. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I just prefer Cabrera, but it's very close.
Oh, Pujols is blowing him away in home runs, and the fact that what Pujols did last year too, to like go on that final run to crack 700 is insane.
Yeah,
I mean he was done. Miguel has not been an average player now. He hasn't had a WRC plus in a full season. He'd had a 105 in the 57 games of 2020, but 127 in 2018 is the last time he cracked 100. That's 5 years ago. Yeah. He's totally just shit on his legacy these last 5 years. It's really, he's fallen off massively.
That's a fair point. Yeah. Over the past 5 years or so, he's been, I would say, below average. Really?
Yeah. he just fell off the face of the earth. And he's also, he's totally out of shape now. He's just there because it's his final year. And it's his last paycheck. He's like, this is my farewell. And I'm just going to pound trash and do what the fuck I want. And, man, I used to love Miggy, but I've actually come to the opposite side now, and I don't love him like I did because I know the type of person he's been too. There's a lot of stories. You guys can Google your own stuff on your own time, but we'll leave that there. I've trashed him enough. So, all right. Well, it's been a lot of fun. I am exhausted. It's almost 11:30 on a Thursday night. Had a good time today.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed your insights, and I'm looking forward for the rest of the season. It's been given all the struggles and injuries and starting pitching and all this stuff, it's been a crazy season, but it's been a lot of fun. So
it has. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, Mike. Oh yeah. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Miggy DUI. Thank you, Steve. Yes. Okay. Anybody can Google that. Yeah. But yeah, Mike, I love doing the show with you. It's been great to have you on again. Make sure everyone follows Mike. He's at We Know Fantasy, MKB Fantasy on Twitter. Mike brings a lot to the show here. He does some of the prep here, a lot of the prep, so I'm really appreciative of that. Thank you so much. And
thank you for having me on.
Of course, you know that. And you know I want you here. So.
Utah. Give me 2.
2 Z's plus a podcast. That's the show, everybody. And we're going to turn it over now to Russell Crowe, who he might have had a DUI once. Who knows? He seems like a guy who loves to drink a lot. Hopefully he didn't get behind the wheel. I'm not saying he did or didn't. I'm just saying he might enjoy the drink. But we'll turn it over to him because this is the official fantasy baseball podcast of Russell Crowe, the actor, the legend himself. We'll see you later, everybody.
Right, lads. Now, I know there's not a faint heart among you. And I know you're as anxious as I am to get into close action. But we must bring him right up beside us before we spring this trap. That will test our nerve. And discipline will count just as much as courage. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. And they will sell their lives dearly. They mean to take us as a prize. And we are worth more to them undamaged. Their greed will be their downfall. England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his rope or gun, quick's the word and sharp's the action. After all,